Hi, everybody. This is Chris,
This is Matt.
and this is not a review or
No,
even a typical conversation for us. This is a preview.
this is a very special episode, and it's not the one where we confront me about my escalating drug use.
Well, I'm going to take you to Burger King afterwards, and we'll clear all that up. No, this is we are getting to preview Nox Archaist. Probably knew that from the title, but they'll be launching a Kickstarter about a week after we show this video.
May
The
2nd, I believe, is the Kickstarter date.
May 2nd is the Kickstarter date. If you're watching this in the future, hello, it's already happened.
Wow.
Uh, but yeah, we got a chance to get our hands on a preview build of this and take a look.
Yeah, it's super exciting. Uh, it answers the question, what if development on the Apple IIe had somehow continued all the way to 2018-19?
Yes.
This is like what you would get.
Mm-hmm.
And it's on like the 6502 assembler it's written in. It's
Yeah.
on original hardware. If you contribute to the Kickstarter, you can get it on the 5 1/4, or is it 5 1/2? Five and a
Five and a
quarter
quarter.
discs. Yeah. I was
Three and
gonna
a half,
make it
five and a
with the
quarter.
3 1/2. Yeah. So it's like legit. It's like legit, and that's how we're justifying talking about a brand new
Mm-hmm.
game.
Yeah. And I mean,
The hardware is 20 years old.
if you have a game that's retro inspired, that's not really what we're looking for. If you have a game that's actually building on the Commodore or the Apple II or something like that, and you want to talk to us about it, we're
We'll
here.
do that all day.
We'll do
Yeah.
that all day. uh, but it's got to be something legitimately like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And so let's stop talking about that part of stuff and
Let's
let's
get a
get
look
in.
at it.
Let's get a look at the thing here. Here comes the
Uh,
title screen.
Yep, if you're that one guy who's mad about the title screen,
Yeah, this
uh,
is it. This is all we're showing for the hour. Just
yep.
buckle in.
Just,
We're just gonna show the title screen for. We're kidding, obviously, but
I could look at that title screen for an hour though. I love the how dramatic it is, like the blood and the flames. It's pretty great.
it reminds me the colors around the border and stuff. It's not exactly, but it reminds me of the SSI Gold Box games. Like it
Hmm.
just immediately hits that same chord for me, and I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a great first first take though. Like
Right.
the first thing you see is that it's really good.
Yeah. Welcome to the game. This is your much. And then this is not where you guys will start in the game, but this is sort of where we got to first take a look within the game. It's top down. You can definitely see the Ultima Questron Diablo or not Diablo, Deathlord influence.
Yeah, and keep in mind too, this is like a we're looking at like an alpha version,
Mm-hmm.
so there's going to be stuff that's not done, or the experience is going to be a little different. But this is like legit gameplay of the game, which is super exciting.
Well, and that's one of the other things I want to say. How long did you play this game for? Like when you got,
Um,
how long did it take you to get through the demo part you got a hold of?
I we've gotten a few builds of this, and the first one I played for probably 8 or 9 hours, and then I played the updated build for probably 3 or 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
That's what I was
I
going to say. It took me like 9 hours to get through the build, which
mhm,
is impressive for a demo. So it's not like we got to see a battle in a town. We
right,
got actual gameplay. Um,
right, and I definitely got a feel for the whole, like a little bit of the pacing,
mhm.
all the mechanics. So it was a good size uh, beta that we got to do.
Yeah. Um, I jump
Yeah,
right in here to begin with controls and interface because there's a couple things that are noteworthy about it. First off, I literally just put up what are the keyboard commands here on the screen.
yeah, this is a good list. Like it's there's not so many that it's annoying. Like I'm gonna say that I find all of the keyboard commands in Ultima a little bit annoying. This is like the right amount and they make sense.
Yes. And we'll get to a little bit why, but there's a lot of things you can do within the game that don't require the keyboard command. So he's able to pull them out and fold them into a menu system, which is not revolutionary in terms of we've seen Windows for the last 25 years, but revolutionary in that this is on an Apple II, and
Right.
that's impressive. Um,
And that's what I love probably the most about Knox is that it is such a good combination of that original uh
mm,
role playing experience, but with an interface that like just makes sense. It's
right.
such a relief because it's not like those goofy ass interfaces on all these old games where you don't know how to shuffle stuff around, you don't know how to like manage your party. Uh Nox has it has modern sensibilities behind it, which
Yes.
I really appreciate.
Yeah. Um, there's something we'll probably mention when we get to combat, but I want to just point out that Shift 8, the toggle combat math display. So most of the game, it does hide the numbers from you. You can just play, have a really relaxed, not so, number crunchy experience and just have fun with it. And that's how I played for most of the game. But there's an option, and he said he's probably going to keep it in for everyone. Where you hit Shift 8, and it brings up exactly how the dice roll happened to let you know what happened in combat. So if you're confused, like, I hit that guy, or why are all my blows glancing off, or what's
Right.
happening with this, you can see the numbers and you never have to guess. And that's just a really nice touch to things. Um,
Yeah.
we'll keep going here a little bit. Menus. This is the big thing. Tab to open up menus. You use the cursor keys to move around. Would you say it's intuitive? I don't know that I'd go that far, but it's comfortable.
Right. It's comfortable and it has a logic to it that you can grasp really quickly.
Yes.
Uh and considering the hardware and that it's not mouse driven, I mean it's definitely way more intuitive than any other Apple thing I've ever played. Like
Agreed.
it's a really good
And even though
menu
my
system.
text here is horrible, we're going to show
That's
them.
okay. So yeah, so here's the menu. So you can see those six icons along the top are all submenus, and the first one has 4 pages, and it's pretty easy to move through these. So it's tab to move around. You can use the number keys to move to the submenus. It's really good, and like
hmm
this takes so much of the frustrating parts out of playing old games to have a legit menu system like this.
It cleans up the interface. It organizes the information you want where you want it, so you know where to go to find it. It never took me long to get or see or do anything when I
Yep.
needed to know.
The only thing that's strange about it is when you have a party, you'll have more people listed under where it says Nox testers. I It's spacebar to toggle between all the people, and sometimes I would find myself wanting to hit spacebar to toggle active equipment. But I think that's just because of other stuff that I'm playing right now that it's
Yeah.
like that. And I'm just not context switching.
Yeah, and I
But
mean I understand why, because you need the up and down, which would normally be for that to actually be uh, in there.
right, right, exactly. And enter makes more sense for selecting something than spacebar, but
It
it's just
does, yeah.
but it's that menu system is really great.
The menu system is really well done. Yeah, I hope he doesn't change too much of it, just leaves it where it is. But
Yeah.
okay, so now I'm going to just do some walking around. I'm not going to get to combat for a little bit. I just want to show some different. I want to show the like three different environments we really got to play in: the overworld, the cities, and the dungeons. So
Yeah, let's take a look.
start with the overworld. You and I both had. Oh, this is where I've chosen the wizard. You can pick what your player party looks like,
Hmm.
and if you go back in time and maybe rewind the video and look when we first showed up, it's the fighter guy looks like the guy from the Berserker enemy.
I love that.
I
I
love that
love
both you and I
Berserker.
came up with that.
Right. it totally looks like the Berserker guy.
Yeah.
I like this mage icon. I never really switched my icon just because I like the Berserker guy.
Hmm.
But they're all pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like your wizard dude. But yeah, you can see all the different terrain here. So you can see the progress is
Hmm.
slowed when you move through forests or hills. It's
Well,
blocked by mountains.
right. And I like that you get a sense of scale here because you're not getting necessarily forest icons, but they're like tree sized. So you
Hmm.
can see that water has different depths. So um, there's a river up there. Here comes towns.
Yeah,
Before we go into towns, I want to talk about the overworld just one more quick second because
sure.
you can swim. There's swimming in Nox Archaist. Uh, and that's kind of cool because you can kind of go out and try and like get to other islands, but you'll take damage if the water gets too deep.
Hmm.
I had to give Mark grief about this, and he gave me a reason why it happens, but he knew like, yeah, I'm putting this in here. You can swim in oceans, you can't swim in rivers.
Yeah, it's Oregon Trail. You got to ford it
You got to ford it.
or
No,
caulk it or ford it or whatever you have to do.
your horse can jump it, which I think is cool. Uh,
Yeah, that is cool.
so it kind of gives a new reason for horses because you can jump a river and get away from enemies because enemies
Hmm.
can't cross them either. Um, but he said that there's going to be an in-story reason for it, like there's eels in the river or it moves too fast or something like that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Um, I'd rather just see you take damage or maybe get washed down, but I also know we're already pushing our luck on this, so I'm gonna give it a buy. But I did want to kind of
Right.
call
Yeah, you got to give
attention.
Mark a hard time.
I gotta give Mark a hard time about a couple things because otherwise we're gonna just gush for an hour,
Right.
and it's probably already gonna sound like we're shilling for this. What
Yeah.
a little
Like,
bit.
well, yeah, to be clear, like, Mark's a great friend of our show and he's contributed a lot in the comments and I saw the Oregon Trail play with him, which was
Y-
fantastic and
yeah,
fun.
but in the
But
next,
I wouldn't say that this is an awesome game that you should totally play if it wasn't. And it
no.
really is. Like I really liked playing at least the beta.
And I'll say on both the interview and this, we approached him with these. So
Right.
like this is genuinely our opinion. This is not some like we're not getting anything for this. This is just we love this enough that we want to kind of point it out. And we love that people are still doing stuff like
Right. Right. And the other thing is that aside from being kind of a friend of our show, Mark's a great friend of the Apple community.
this. Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to the 6502 workshop, there's all kinds of really cool information on how assembly works and how the game works,
Yeah.
which I think is really great
Yeah.
and would be worth supporting even if
Just
the game
that.
didn't turn out fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it did. Like
Right.
it manages
Mm-hmm.
uh, to be a good game.
Right. Now we should say we do know there's like even though we had like 10 hours of content, there was still a bunch of missing content in the area we got. So you might see some of that pop up from time to time. My favorite is NPC 68 dialogue not finished yet. I
Sure.
it makes me happy to see. I don't know why. I just get the biggest kick out of it.
Yeah.
But obviously there's plenty of dialogue here and we will cover the dialogue in depth in its own thing because he did another great job with that.
Yeah.
I paused it here because I didn't want to miss this point. There's a day-night cycle, and light is an issue. So you've
Yep.
got torches you got to light. If you're in a dungeon, you're going to have to bring your own light. When the sun goes down, you feel the view changes, and you got to take that all into account.
Yeah. The line of sight is a thing and it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way it operates isn't jarring at all
Right.
or annoying.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see there's a good variety of sprites. I mean, there's a lot going on in these towns and cities. And a lot of them are interactive. Like you can lie down in the bed. That's always a good time. You can
Mm-hmm.
sit at the bar. I
Right.
really enjoyed that.
Doors open and close. NPCs, the players in town, have schedules, but they don't walk assigned paths. There's a little bit of vagary to that. But they do need to get to somewhere by a certain time, so they will make their way there as best they can. Um, Along the bottom, you can kind of see sort of sense of humor of the game. Like I'm waiting in time and it's putting little messages like the party shop sharpens its weapons or shop at Willie's or
Waits impatiently is my
waits impatient.
favorite. Yeah.
And it's hard to tread that balance between humor and like dark heroics sort of well. And
Yeah.
I kind of want to call it out because I thought of exactly how to describe it today. And that is the game doesn't take itself seriously, but it takes the player seriously. And that is not always done. I've seen a lot of games try to harken back to this old age, and they don't take themselves seriously because they know what they're doing, but then they also don't take the player seriously, and it ends up not being fun because you feel disrespected a little bit in how silly it is.
Right. Yeah. Knox is funny without being silly.
Yes.
Uh, and I also appreciate that because you want it to be a little lighthearted and you want to like a wink and a nudge, but you don't
Hmm.
want it to be like one joke, one stupid joke reference after another. That gets old real
It
quick.
does. So we're going into conversations here.
Yeah. It's got a command or a parser.
Hmm. Yeah, here it is. NPC
And it
68.
yeah.
This makes me happy. I just had to throw that in because I love it.
I would
Um,
like it if there was a NPC 68 somewhere that you couldn't
oh
talk
God,
to.
make me so happy.
But some of them, like this, I think this person
This is the
does
guy.
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this guy actually prompts, and this is the reason we're kind of showcasing him, is he the quest isn't input yet, but you can see the start of it. So I kind of wanted to show that this quest here has a lot of moving parts to it for an NPC dialogue. You got to basically pull out of this guy that the Lord comes by in the evening,
Hmm.
and in a moment here I'll show at the bottom you'll see voice mode normal. You can whisper, you can yell, and you can just talk to a guy, and they will have different responses to you based on what you choose. Like it looks like here I'm going to choose whisper, ask evening. He's like he doesn't respect you if you whisper. You got to talk normal to him. And if I yell, he's like
Yeah, he's
bring
not
it
having
down.
it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah, and so those of you who have played Ultima will recognize name and job
yeah.
as good like
Name job
conversation
by.
openers. It's not great at the singles bar, but it works in Nox.
Oh man, if you find the person who responds to name job by at the singles bar, marry them. You found them, you're done. Stop
Yep.
looking.
But yeah, you can always go to those, and then the anything that's capped
Hmm.
you can ask about. I really liked the command parser.
Yeah.
Uh, it's probably the best way to implement this kind of dialogue, I would think.
Any all caps the important words. There's other words you can type in too, but the ones you really need to get the quest are called out for you. So you're not like, oh, I wonder what word I'm supposed to type. You
Yeah.
it's your attention's drawn to it. So you're not playing a guessing game. And here's the Lord who shows up finally.
Yep. You waited till the evening.
Hmm.
Sir Chivalrous, that was a little bit rude to you there.
He was a little rude to me.
It's not very chivalrous at
That's my
all.
thought. And then placeholder insert a quest. Like so
Yep.
yeah, so something's coming there, and that was kind of cool. All the NPCs so far have really had distinct personalities. The
Yeah.
care put into the NPCs shows throughout. There's a lot of, and I think that's going to be what really makes this game take the rest of the time because mechanically, I could keep playing this game. Like I didn't find anything where I'm like, oh, you need to flesh out combat or you need to make
Hmm.
text better. No, I mechanically I was happy with everything I got to play. Anything added on at this point is great.
Hmm.
But content needs to just be poured in. That said, the castle was huge.
Right. The world is very rich. Like there's a lot of variety in the way it looks. the characters. In the first town,
Hmm.
there's like a kid who talks to you about boats and all
Yeah.
the other places he wants to go. And like you get a feeling that, there's a big world there that's going to be
Hmm.
uh, really exciting to play in.
And like the castle's multi-level. So you go in and you
Right.
don't just have you got your first level to explore, which is big enough, and then you go up and down in it. It's just I didn't find the person who sold spells until almost 8 hours in,
Right.
which was a problem for me at 8 hours in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Did you ever find the guy who heals you in the castle?
never found the guy who heals me in the castle.
Oh, that's a bargain. That's the
I
best bargain in Knox. He heals you for 5 and reses you for 20.
Yeah,
Like
you
that's
told me
so
that.
cheap. It's so cheap.
Too cheap. Too cheap, Mark. If you're hearing this,
Yeah. Don't change it, Mark. Don't change it. I need that. I need that guy. I can't do it without him.
all the way up, 250 and 200.
Oh,
I'm
God,
saying
you're the worst
I'm
person.
I'm a horrible person. Um, oh, speaking of horrible person, I'm gonna go into shopping here, and we'll pause for a second before we start because we're gonna actually do how the item shopping interface works here in a second. But while we're talking about awful things in games, let's talk about food.
Oh, okay. You want to have that
Let's
conversation.
have that conversation because when we interviewed Mark, he was debating it and wasn't
Right.
going to put food in, and
And
there it is.
we were firmly in the don't put food in camp too,
Yep.
I think, because it's I don't think we ever like when there's food in games just because it turns into one more stupid thing you have to manage.
I would say I wasn't as firmly as you, but definitely was on the like it didn't have to be here thing. So you probably think we're about to dog on it. Uh it's done
Didn't
really
mind
well.
it.
Didn't mind it.
I like that. If you try to camp and you don't have food, you just don't heal. Like
Hmm.
that's pretty good.
And it gives the thing for me narratively is it makes hunting wolves and snakes and things like that have meaning because they're not giving gold, they're giving food. So if you are want to save up your money like I did, I went to where the wolves were and hunted wolves and got my food back up and then went hunted stuff. So I didn't have to
Right.
spend money. I could.
And it makes sense too because wolves shouldn't be carrying around gold.
Gold.
Granted, one was carrying around a magic staff, or it was just a regular staff, which I appreciated. Uh,
Well, lucky you.
I know it was a good get. It was a really good get. But yeah, usually they just have food, which makes total sense and probably is smarter.
No, it adds. This is one of the first times food has added something to the game in terms of a narrative that I haven't, you know, felt like it's detracted more than it's added. I think it's done well. Like I said, I
Right.
never ran out. I never felt panicked, but I could also see how if I wasn't paying attention to it, I might. But I also never felt like now I got to go back to town and spend money for no reason. I could hunt. I had options. It gave me some player agency to solve a problem.
Right. You do get kind of a oh crap moment when you're super low on food or if you camp and you're out
Hmm.
and you really need it, which is good. Like you want to have those experiences,
Yeah.
but you don't want it to be like, oh, now you're dead.
Yeah.
Reload your game, idiot. It's like, oh,
Everyone
it's not
starved to
fun.
death. All right. Let's go into actual shop. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. So you're going to buy some weapons from Conan O'Brien up
yep.
there.
Can't tell me that's not Conan O'Brien.
He's got
Uh,
giant hair.
I think it's supposed to be a hat. I don't know.
No,
Uh,
no.
it's from now on.
It's
It's Conan
lore.
O'Brien though.
It's lore. It's Conan O'Brien.
Um, love him. Was just love his little face.
Yep.
Uh, so let me wait here.
Yep. So you're just kind of shopping, and you can, if you hit S to sell, it'll pop you into your inventory,
Yep.
and you can sell stuff. Uh, very clear, very easy to use. What confused me a little bit though was the strength system to equip stuff.
Hmm.
Uh, that's new to me. Like I don't think I've ever come across that in a game. So you have like 18 strength, and then every piece of armor, and I think every weapon,
Hmm.
right? It like costs you strength to equip.
Like,
So
let's
you're,
pause right here. Oh,
yeah, yeah,
let's go back. Let's play. Let's get to where it shows a couple.
yep.
Oop, all
Strength
right,
too low to
perfect.
wield.
Okay, so yeah, leather boots way two, leather curious ways four. Someone's gonna correct my pronunciation on that. If you have a strength of 18, you can equip 18 pounds worth of stuff. So you can have one big heavy weapon and light armor. You can have heavy armor and a light weapon. You can mix and match your armor, so maybe light boots and a heavy torso, or maybe all your accessories are heavy and the torso's light. You have some agency in how you dress your guy up, but it all comes down to what your weight is.
Yep.
And
Which it takes some planning because you have to always know how much overhead you have.
mm-hmm,
So you have to know what you're equipped with, and then you have to do the math. Like, okay, I'm gonna sell my like boots, so I'll have 2 more strength, but I'm gonna buy these bigger boots that are gonna cost 4.
mm-hmm,
So you really have to stop before you buy anything and really pay close attention,
yep,
uh, which is good because it's like kind of a meditative process to
yeah,
like dress your guys up, and sometimes you'll go and be like, oh, I've got like 8 strength I can spend, like I can get
mm-hmm,
some exciting new robes or whatever.
right. No, and it makes the level up thing. It really has you sit there when it's time to level up, weigh your options. No pun intended.
Right.
Um,
It's really exciting to level up for that reason because it's just like, oh, thank God, like I can finally put on a pair of boots.
I can finally, yeah, I found a rapier I couldn't use for like a level. I just had to
Yep.
carry it around with me going, anytime now I can
Yep.
use this. Um, but like speaking of leveling up, feeling amazing, the attitude of leveling up where like the sky is open and this voice booms out. It's like, pray to us, pray to the old three gods and put them in, and you get 12 points to spend between your strength, intelligence, and dex.
Hmm.
And that's fun. It makes it's a little bit of narrative that makes leveling up feel exciting. And it's just assigning points, but the way it's done.
Right. Right. It's super rewarding, and
Mhm.
it kind of interrupts after combat. It like clears, and then it tells you your
Yeah.
artifact is vibrating, and then the sky's open. It's really good. Like I
Yeah.
it's you get that level up dopamine release every time. it's
Yeah.
it's quite good.
It's not just a ding. It's not just ding, assign points. No. You're
Right.
stopping the game. We're all going to celebrate this level you just earned. And that's a
Right.
fun way to do it. All right, let's go back to shopping here. So,
All
yeah, I'm equipping stuff. I'll probably talk to this guy again and sell the stuff I don't need anymore in a second. There's items, there's spells. We should probably talk about spells for a second. Let's wait for it to get to spells, and I'll pause on that. All right, here's magic. Obviously, this is early in the game where I don't have all the spells
right. Yep.
yet. You can memorize 10 spells at a time, but you can have more spells in your book or books
Yeah, I
or
definitely did not get. I think I got 3 or 4 spells total, so I didn't bump up against the 10 limit at all. Did you?
I did because when I found it, it was at the end of the game, so I went and just bought all the spells.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like I've got the money, um, and had all the spells and was able to just go into the final battle with them. I needed because I was getting my butt kicked
Hmm.
for that. We should talk about death and dying in a second because I'm betting you died at least
Oh,
at
I
full
died
party
many
weight.
times.
Okay.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, you can then go in and select what spells you have active, and pretty much anyone can cast them at any point in time. This is a classless system. That's a good point in this. So every character has a little bit of power in everything.
Hmm.
Um, that doesn't mean you won't create specialists.
Right. Or find them.
Or find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're limited just by your magic points, pretty much.
hmm
But if your magic level's low, you just aren't going to have the magic points to do much.
Right.
But
I had
it's
spells
so
like
nice
yeah.
that everyone can heal. Like,
hmm
oh, bless you for not making me have a useless cleric that can't do anything but cast
Heal.
heal. Like, oh, I'm so glad I could do other stuff with that guy.
Especially because like in games like Ultima 3 and Deathlord, Your clerk is basically there to heal, but um, like you get points for killing things,
Right.
so they never level up.
Right.
And
And that's how Nox is too, by the
right,
way. Like you have to do the killing blow to get the XP.
did that bother you at all?
It's not. I don't think it's my preference, but it does create some extra layer of strategy when you have like because I pimped out someone with ranged, and like as you get higher level, that
Mm.
ranged person can just wipe out you know,
I
most of
think
the people before they get there.
I think that's funny because you and I had opposite experiences on that. My ranged guys ended up sort of stuck behind my melee fighter who would just
Oh
walk up and they'd be like shooting stuff and it'd be deflected and it wouldn't be doing so good and he just blah, blah, blah. And so he ended up just pulling way ahead of them until I let them catch
no,
up a little bit. Then it evened out, but
interesting.
initially I had the opposite experience. So that's
Yeah, yeah. I make the guys chase me around the screen while I shoot them with the bow and arrow. So it works not so well on cobras, but it definitely works well on the
yeah,
wolves.
yeah. Um
Which we should talk about the pacing. Well, maybe we should get the
yeah, we'll
video
get to
going.
combat in a
We'll
second. We're
stay
kind
on
of off
we'll stay
we're off
on task here.
us? No.
I know.
That's not how this works. You can also see there's torches and lockpicks, so there's obviously you got to pick locks in some places.
Yep.
There's things like that. Um, we don't really talk about like as your character uses a piece of equipment over and over. So not only does level up, but your skill with an item levels up too. So you got kind of a dual leveling system under the hood.
Yeah.
But here I am selling stuff that I don't want. Um,
And again, that menu system is really good for
hmm
those situations. It's kind of a unified experience.
Here's dungeons. I'm just sort of like again, this is still just me showing off the terrain. It's not.
Yeah, this is in a cave, and
hmm
now you'll notice you have 3 people in your party, so you've gotten pretty
hmm
far by now.
Yep.
But yeah, you're picking locks,
Yep.
breaking hearts.
Yeah, I had Bridget be my Dex monkey
Yeah,
and
dancing a jig.
dancing a jig when I don't pull it off. But got to cast a spell to heal her because she got hit by the trap. So,
Right, she got it pretty good.
oop.
Very
Uh,
good.
health bars I think are a nice touch. Um,
Yeah, yep. You get all the information you need about their magic and health in one, and then when you're in combat, the again we'll talk about combat in a minute,
hmm
so I'll shut up.
Yeah, but like I always have mixed feelings on bars themselves, but it does a good job of saving space. I'm one
Hmm.
of those who I want to know, do I have 15 magic points left or do I have 13 magic? I want to know exactly how many but you can go in and look.
Yeah, the reason it works for me is because Nox doesn't punish you for trying to
Yes.
cast a spell and not having the magic points. Like you can still do something else.
Right. If you're in combat and you try to do something that doesn't work, it doesn't like, oh, well, that was your turn, idiot. Like
Yep.
you get to keep your turn and figure it out. And that's just so nice.
It's pretty kind, I think,
hmm
to the player. Like you can change equipment and not armor, but weapons
Yeah.
in combat. So I really like that. It's super playable.
hmm
It's not like doesn't just like keep poking you with all the little
Right.
mistakes you make.
And you can see like the dungeons themselves are nice in that when I walked way over to the side, you could see there were stalactites and stalagmites. There's
Hmm.
just as much character in the dungeons as there is in the rest of the game. Now,
Yeah.
oddly, I'm showing the last battle for this because it really is one of the most dynamic ones in the game he has so far.
Hmm.
Because you got a couple ogres up there, they have ranged attacks. The shaman in the back, I cast a fireball in it so you can kind of see that fireball explodes outwards and you get some graphical
Yeah. It's got
acknowledgement
some
of it.
Some area of effect spells. But yeah,
Yeah,
this is a good combat uh, to show. You
it
get the berserker guy too.
yeah, it caught me off guard because I went in going, okay, I know it's a shaman. He's gonna like shoot fireballs and stuff at me, but no, he summons undead, and that changes your strategy quite a bit when you're going through this battle.
Right, right. And if you don't pay attention, you'll miss it, and it
But
just looks like guys are just showing up.
yeah,
But yeah, you're doing a good job here.
yeah, I think I lose one of the guys before this battle's over, but
Yeah. So would you think of the death system? Well, you never found the res person,
I
right?
never found the
So
res person. So when I had a total party death, it was restart.
yeah.
Um,
Well, if you lose one or two people, if you have a party of three, as long as there's one person left, you can mule back to the res guy, and he'll for 20 gold each
yeah,
res everyone that died. But usually my experience was if one person dies, the whole
the
party's
whole
gonna die
party's done. Yeah,
because
that's
uh, it's not an easy game.
mm-mm.
Uh,
No. I mean, we talk about it being nice to you, but it does
mhm.
have some of that old school sensibility where things also aren't handed to you. One of the reasons I think I lose the mage in this, and I might be wrong, the missile weapon, the ranged enemies know to pick on the magic user,
Yeah,
and they're like, magic guy, boom, boom, boom. And of course he's going to have like no armor on because he's putting everything into intelligence, so
right.
he's just taking hits, and um, it can be hard that way. It's
Yeah,
obviously possible, but it is tricky, and there is friendly fire,
for
so
spells,
for
not
spells,
for not for
arrows and
arrows.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, although I never tried to target my own party with arrows, so I bet you could target your own party with arrows, but I
Oh,
haven't seen a
maybe.
mistaken shot going there.
Yeah, you
Um,
shoot through your own party members, but
mhm,
yeah, I never tried. I don't even know if you can target them. That's a good question.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, combat is good. You'll notice on the lower right that you'll see the enemy's health bar go by.
When you hit them, yeah.
Uh, yeah, which is nice because it doesn't busy up the screen with stuff, but you still kind of know where everyone's at.
Hmm.
Yeah, but man, this guy's really doing a
Yeah.
number with these summoning things.
Yeah. I'm trying to work my way back there, but you don't want to leave them alone, but at the same time, you can't focus on them, so you got to kind of stick and move, stick and move.
Yeah.
And he'll keep summoning them, so that's another reason why you got to kind of clear them out as you go.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that I think's neat. Like this is a combat. Part of why I picked it is also a long one, so it gives us time to talk about it.
Hmm.
I never felt any of the combats overstayed their welcome. I never ran into it like with Ultima where I've got like 8 Barlons, that I've got to fight every
Right.
3 steps in the dungeon, or 8 skeletons where they're way beneath me, but I got to
Right.
fight all of them.
Yeah. Tactical combat can be such a mixed bag because when it's boring, it's really boring and it takes so long. Uh, but I think the AI around targeting is good enough too that you don't get caught up in a lot of retargeting people and messing around and taking extra time to make tactical decisions because usually the game makes a good enough tactical decision for you that if you're inclined and if you're going to outclass everyone you can just mash that attack key
yeah.
and you'll be golden. You don't have to, you
Yeah,
know.
we didn't mention that. So like when you hit attack, like in Ultima and other tactical games like that, the cursor starts on you and then you got to slide it over to a guy. Uh, this one picks the most logical choice. It starts the cursor on the guy you probably want to hit, and then you get to be like, no, no, I meant this guy over here, and you can move it, uh, either manually or by just hitting next, which is how I almost always did it. Um,
Yeah.
I never, I felt this is some of the most fast tactical combat for these type of games I've ever played. It just flew every time. I never felt bogged down.
Right. And the default text scroll speed is spot
Good.
on too. Like
Yeah.
you don't have to mess with it. I didn't anyway.
No, I
I,
didn't
I
either.
was really happy with the out of the box experience.
Hmm. You can mess with it. Like if it's going too if this is too fast for you, you can slow it down. And I think I did, um, because this is not the first time I've tried this battle. I can tell you that. I
Yeah,
tried this battle before I had like the fireball spell and things,
yeah,
and uh, my archer and mage could not do damage to the ogres. They were just too low a level.
yep.
And there's another thing about this game. It does not gate you off. If you want to go somewhere that's over your head, okay,
But
it's
I will
gonna,
say the nice thing is that you can usually tell, like in the first
yes,
section, there's that bridge, and once you go over the bridge, you're like, okay, this is going to be
different.
different. So it's paced really well in that sense because you when you push, you feel the
Hmm.
push, but you also kind of know that you have to do it
Yeah. When I
because you're
went
not going to
around to
get
the back
gold.
of the mountains and saw
Right.
snakes, I'm like, oh, uh, this is different. This is sort of the end of this part of the video that we've done recording, and just want to kind of mention, Lord British is in it.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah, I
This
know
was
Ultimas were a big influence to Mark, so this is a good get for him. I'm glad he's able to bring someone who's so influential to him into the game.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
it's really great. It's really a good move on Richard Garriott's part
yeah,
to let Mark do that. Like that's a classy move.
it is. I think it's nice for me to see because for me, Ultima 5 was where Ultima started like losing me. Like I
Hmm.
really liked him through 5. The rest I feel slowly got worse. We won't talk about 8 and 9. Um, so seeing him in what I would think is like a 6-esque sort of thing where this would have
Right.
kept going like Mark wanted, if like this is sort of a spiritual successor branching off from that, is a nice is a nice thing to kind of see tangentially in there. That said, like I don't want to, like, okay, Lord British is going to be in here, and this is obviously has an Ultima influence. This game definitely has its own voice.
Right. It doesn't feel like a Ultima derivative.
No.
It's got so many complicated mechanics too that like it's got line of sight, it's got NPC schedules, it's got some really good dynamic like spell and targeting effects in combat that you don't really see that often.
Right.
It does all those things really well and not in a hey look what I'm doing kind of way. Like
Yeah.
it flows really well and like you said it has its own attitude and voice.
Yeah. It's Ultima influenced. It's not an Ultima clone. It has a lot of things that like Ultima 4 and 5 were starting to pioneer, but it then took them and ran with them.
Hmm.
But still brings its own scale, its own world, its own vibe. Um, just a really good blend of old and new, and a new take and a new direction that, like I said earlier, is able to like enjoy itself and not be too serious with it, but
Hmm.
never disrespect you as a player. And um, that's really cool. That's really really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I really really enjoyed playing uh, what we got to play of this game.
Hmm.
Like I'm super excited for the full version.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Um,
Yeah.
I think that's everything. Is there anything? I'm just going through our notes here real quick to make sure I didn't miss anything other than, I know it's kind of late to read disclaimer, but it's super early. We aren't even a Kickstarter yet, so things can change. But I hope he doesn't change much. Like
Yeah.
there's not much I want to see him tweak. Uh,
Yep. Really thoughtfully implemented
hmm.
game here. Uh,
Scale's
he's
good.
definitely
Tile's
on the
good.
right track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, looking forward to the Kickstarter. Looking forward to seeing this come out. If you are one of those people who's worried about Kickstarters and will this guy ever, like, will this guy make a game? There's enough game here. Um, he's just got to add content.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no qualms. Like I'm looking forward to donating
Yeah.
or participating in the Kickstarter.
One thing we missed. I'm going through the notes here. I didn't show this. The overworld has storms.
Oh yeah, right.
Like storm
Right.
clouds fly over and can affect things as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
missed
like
getting
I
that.
said, the world's pretty rich and feels pretty dynamic.
Right. I don't think there's parts where there's tall grass that kind of hide you and enemies from things.
Hmm.
When you camp outside, uh, it's our enemies nearby. Enemies have their own little biomes. Like there's ones in the water, there's ones in the mountains. We talked about it, like I went to where the wolves were to hunt.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't think there's much else we can say so far on it other than we liked what we saw. Looking forward to more.
Definitely.
Was disappointed when I like finished that last battle and like walked around everywhere I could. He had a little
Hmm.
barrier of cows that fenced in
Right.
where we're allowed to walk. Like this is your starting area. It's in the cows,
Yep.
um, which was
Yeah.
funny. But yeah, just like I'm gonna have to be done now. Mm.
Yeah.
At
At least for a while.
least for a while, it's coming. Um, so yeah, if you wanted to know more about Nox Archaist, that's what we got to see. We'll happily answer questions and do anything else like that. If you want to ask us some questions about how gameplay went down, we're happy to answer them.
Yep.
Um, Anything else you want to add?
No, that's it for me.
All right, then we'll see everybody in a week for Pool of Radiance.
Yeah, thank
And,
you.
all right, thanks everybody. Bye.
Bye.